Good morning. This is Cosmic Waves, and I'm Connie Hansen, here to give you the daily astrology report. I use a little different astrology. I use sidereal calculations, which put things in a little different perspective than the regular Western type of calculation. Anyway, let's get on with the report. I'm going to do a quick synopsis of our elections here. I'm just looking ahead a bit, and this is just after Super Tuesday, and I wanted to make a political observation only about our choices. There is a T-square concerning how we deal with change in spiritual values. So really this is what's at the core of the variation of people we have before us. We have to decide what we're going to back and what we won't. It will be tested and refined until the 1st of November, which really puts it down to the wire. Our choices are restricted until June of 2016, and the real change is seen in our hearts and minds and how we fit together as for the greater good. A lot of this influence is in Aquarius, so obviously we have higher good as our basis of what we need to be focused on. And also how we get along with each other. By June, Jupiter will go direct and start to move away from the conjunction that it's in and from these other Aquarian influences. That's going to open up more of what we've set in motion. We're going to start seeing it in a big way. This is, there's also it's also moving away from that T-square that's having us really focus on who we are and why we do what we do. But there's also going to be some squares with Neptune. And to be sure, there are going to be a lot of hidden agendas and dirty tricks. So if you're really interested in trying to make comedy out of that, then you're going to have a lot of material to work with. August and September will be a time where the mold is created. So remember, August through September, things will really start to crystallize. And then interesting information will come out to muddy the waters and turn people off entirely. So we still have to vote. We still have to make a decision. Not making a decision is making a decision. So don't be in that group. Silence is not, apathy will not work. By November, I think people will end up, by the end of November, people will be going about their business and leave the political process to its own devices. So the struggle has been huge and exhausting, but it's got to be worth it. So let's stay engaged. Now for Friday, March the 4th, over the course of the week, Mercury has shifted into Aquarius. It's headed into a long month of churning of what our core values are held, and by all types of people who are in this mix. So everybody has to really start to decide what are we going to stand for. On a practical perspective, communication will be tested for civility and compassion. If you're not up to trying to see another perspective and sort out the truths and fears, give yourself a break and not engage. There's a serious chance of an uncivil war breaking out. With every criticism, find a positive aspect to the opposing view. Someone has to choose something for a good reason, something that's appealing to them. If necessary, revert back to how you feel about that challenging perspective, rather than imply wrong or malice to someone else's view. An example would be if you are presented a favor for a candidate that is extreme on religious views, respond with how there are many paths to spiritual enlightenment, and that you feel that you should be able to continue to practice without loss of your rights. That's your concern. Remember, the more exhausted the person is you're talking to, the less articulate they will be. They're going to start getting flustered. Bear that in mind and try not to be too critical of them themselves. They may be dealing with a lot of conflict. of what they've chosen and heard. The moon is in Sagittarius today, and that in itself brings deep philosophical discussion. So that's it for Friday, March 4th. Hope this has been of help.